This is the coordinate measuring machine. So this is actually a really high-tech piece of equipment. It has the capability to be programmed to automatically measure any part that you program it to measure, okay? So in theory, you could draw something in SolidWorks, import it into this machine, and it will automatically measure that part, which is really kind of a cool piece of technology. We're not going to do anything that complex in rotation number 2. I just want you to get exposure to the machine. I'm going to show you a couple of things with it here that you're probably not going to get to do in lab, depending on how complex your part is and how much time we have. So here we have a sample block that has all kinds of holes put into it. Hold on. I just noticed my probe is on here wonky. There we go. And I've started to measure a couple of these to show you some of the interesting things we can do. In general, though, how this machine works is we've got this joystick with all kinds of little buttons on it, and the head moves based off this joystick. In order for it to move, you have to hold the silver button. That's kind of a fail-safe, so you don't move it without intending to. So you can see here I'm moving it. It moves in X and Y the way that you'd expect it to with the joystick. Down is counterclockwise, up is clockwise. I can adjust the speed of the machine using a couple of different ways. I'm going to turn on the turtle and turn up the machine speed. You don't want to be going too fast. I'll show you in a minute when we go over to the computer screen what things are going on over there, but right now I have it set to circle, and we'll see that in a minute. I'm going to come down and I'm going to measure this circle back here. A circle can be defined by 3 points. Better measuring practice is to do 4 points. The more points that you take, the more accurate your reading is, particularly with any out of round values. Remember we talked about geometric tolerancing? If you want to know the roundness of your circle, you need to take more points. But the minimum for a circle is 3. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to take a point. So you take the joystick and drive it into whatever item you want to measure. As soon as it touches it, it makes a beep and it automatically retracts. So there was my second point. I'm going to take a third point here down in the back of the circle. And there's my fourth point. Good practice is to always raise your probe up after you're done measuring. Then I hit the green check mark over here. I could hit enter on the keyboard, and that will bring us our circle values. So let's go over here to look at the screen, and hopefully I'm not in front of the video completely. Sorry. Crossing. And what we can see over here, oops, you can come out. Just show the whole screen. Whole screen is fine. There we go. Okay. So over here, we see, this is a circle. Circle 3 is the one that I just took. Previously, I did circle 2 and circle 1. The diameter of circle 3 is shown down here. So 0.6488, it gave us an error, or an out of round is really what that is, of 3/10. So pretty good, pretty solid piece that I was doing. It's actually writing, so over here on the left side of the screen, it's writing the program that I used. So if I wanted to remeasure this part, I could actually go in and I could play this program, and the machine will automatically go and measure these 3 circles. So kind of cool. It's programming as you go along. When I needed to select circle, I took it from this little line of blue icons, and you can see this is sort of light blue right here. If I hover over it, it says measured circle. Other things you can do, this is plane, line, point, slot. There's a sphere, all kinds of different things. The menu bar above that is when you're making a constructed feature. So I'm going to make a constructed line, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm going to click on constructed line, and this screen comes up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line between circle 1 and circle 2. And I'm going to, yeah. So if we see that out on the screen, it made them light blue and showed me the points that I took. When I click create, it's going to draw a line. So now we have line 1. I'm going to do the same thing now with circle 1 and circle 3. And I'm now going to draw a line for that. Create. All right, so now we have these 2 lines. Now here's something that's really clever that you can do with a coordinate measuring machine that you wouldn't be able to do in almost any other way. I can get the angle between the centers of these 2 circles, okay? So let's close this out. And now let me figure out the angle. So I'm going to do this angle dimension, and I'm going to go between line 1 and line 2 and click create, and it's given me 46.6717. So it's actually given me the angle between those 2 circles on that bolt circle. There is something you would really struggle to do with a manual gauge. So that's one of the big benefits of using a coordinate measuring machine. So that's the general idea here with this gauge. You'll get to use this a little bit live and in person. When you get to capstone, if you have something that's tricky to measure, this is probably the gauge that should come to mind that you're going to want to use. All right.